The abbey stands silent, its windows glowing faintly in the evening light, as though holding the last breath of an era. For years, this grand estate has been more than stone and mortar. It has been a witness to love, to heartbreak, to whispers, in shadowed corridors and laughter echoing across its ballroom. But now, the story is nearing its end. The question lingers in the air like smoke after a candle is blown out. What remains when the lights dim? When the last goodbye has been spoken? When time itself, a Downton Abbey, has always been more than a home? It is a stage where history itself unfolds, where tradition meets the unyielding current of change. As the story reaches its final chapter, the Abbey stands tall but carries the weight of a fading age. The world beyond its gates is shifting faster than ever. The motorcar replaces the horse-drawn carriage. The wireless radio whispers voices from faraway lands. And within the Abbey's walls, the family and staff face the reality that the life they once knew is slipping into memory. The great hallways, once filled with bustling servants and ringing bells, now feel quieter, almost hesitant. The echo of footsteps on polished floors carries with it the memory of generations who once believed the Abbey would endure forever. Yet, there is no stopping the tide of modernity. The Crawley family knows this truth. Their beloved estate, a symbol of their heritage, now stands at the edge of uncertainty. It is not only the house that faces change, but the people as well. The Crawleys themselves are torn between holding on to what has always been and embracing the promise of new beginnings. Lord Grantham, ever the guardian of tradition, feels the burden of keeping the estate alive while realizing that times are no longer shaped by titles and bloodlines alone. Lady Mary, sharp and determined, sees the necessity of adapting to the world as it is, even if it means letting go of what once defined them. And beneath it all lies the quiet awareness that the Abbey's future may not belong to the Crawleys in the way its past once did. The staff too must face their own crossroads. For years, they have lived within the rhythm of bells and duties, the strict hierarchy of service. But opportunities beyond these stone walls are growing. Some feel the pull of independence, the chance to build lives of their own in a world that now offers them more than service. Yet there is comfort in the Abbey's routines, in the familiarity of roles that have become part of their very identities. Leaving means freedom, but it also means loss. This moment, this fragile pause before the final act, carries a bittersweet weight. The Abbey is not only a home, it is a memory wrapped in brick and timber, waiting for its last chapter to be written. The season has changed. The curtain is about to rise one final time, and what lies ahead is both inevitable and heartbreaking. It is the story of an ending that feels both sudden and eternal. Inside the Abbey, every person carries a story that is about to meet its turning point. The walls may belong to the Crawleys, but the heartbeat of the house has always been shared between the family upstairs and the staff below. As the grand finale unfolds, each character faces choices that will shape not only their future, but also the soul of Downton itself. Lord Grantham feels the weight of history pressing against his shoulders. He has fought for years to keep the estate alive, not simply as a home, but as a legacy. Yet he knows that time is stronger than tradition. In quiet moments, when the corridors are still and the night is heavy, he wonders if he is the last true guardian of this way of life. His heart aches at the thought that the Abbey he devoted himself to may survive only as a shadow of what it once was. Lady Mary is a different force entirely. Sharp, forward-looking, and practical, she sees clearly what her father hesitates to admit. For Mary, the Abbey must not be a shrine to the past, but a house that adapts, bends, and evolves. Her decisions are not easy, though. Beneath her strength lies fear. Fear of being the one to break tradition. Fear of carrying blame if the future proves harsher than she imagines. Yet, she is unshaken in her belief that survival means change, no matter how bitter the taste. And then there is the staff. For them, Downton Abbey is more than duty. It has been home, safety, and identity. Carson, the butler, walks the halls with dignity, but his heart trembles at the changes he cannot stop. He is a man built from loyalty and order, and the thought of life beyond the abbey's walls feels unthinkable. In contrast, the younger servants look outward. They dream of independence, of choosing their paths rather than living by the abbey's rules. The kitchen girls, the footmen, the maids, all feel the pull of freedom, even if it means letting go of the only life they've ever known. Love, too, weaves itself into the story. Romance has always been at the heart of Downton Abbey, and now it feels even sharper, even more urgent. Some couples face the joy of new beginnings, their love standing as proof that hope can bloom even as the old world fades away. Others must face farewell, knowing that their hearts will carry a scar from this final chapter. Love here is never simple, never free. It is tangled with duty, with sacrifice, with the pain of parting. Each of these lives is a thread, and together they create the fabric of Downton Abbey. But as the finale looms, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. The fabric is unraveling. The question is not whether it will change, but how, and at what cost. The people who have called Downton home are no longer the same as when we first met them. They are older, wiser, and scarred by the years, but also braver, ready to face a world beyond these gates. And as they stand at this crossroads, they must decide whether to hold on to the safety of what was, or to step forward into what will be. Downton Abbey to let go. The heart of the finale lies in a single struggle. How long can the Abbey stand against the rising tide of change? The house has always been more than bricks and glass. It has been a fortress of tradition, a stage where the old world clings to life. Yet outside its gates, the world is rewriting itself with every sunrise. Modern machines roar across the countryside, women speak with newfound voices, and class divides begin to blur. The question is no longer whether change will come, but whether Downton can endure it without breaking apart. For the Crawleys, this battle is deeply personal. Lord Grantham believes the Abbey is a sacred trust, passed down through bloodlines, something that must be defended at all cost. To him, letting go feels like betrayal, not just of his ancestors, but of his very identity. Yet he cannot deny the growing reality. The estate is expensive to maintain, the traditions harder to justify, the world outside less interested in aristocracy. He is caught between pride and practicality, his heart torn by the thought of being the last to hold the Abbey's torch. Lady Mary, however, sees the Abbey through sharper eyes. She knows that clinging too tightly to the past is the fastest way to lose everything. To her, survival demands sacrifice. Perhaps parts of the Abbey's life must be let go so that something new can be built in its place. But in fighting for the future, Mary risks being seen as ruthless. Her conflict is not just with her father but with herself, because every choice she makes carries the weight of legacy and the fear that history will judge her harshly. For the staff, the conflict is different, but no less painful. Many feel their way of life slipping through their fingers. The servants' bells, once constant and defining, ring less often now. Opportunities outside the Abbey lure them, but the thought of leaving feels like tearing a piece of their soul away. To serve at Downton has been more than work. It has been identity, family, belonging. The conflict for them is whether to remain loyal to the fading world they know or to chase uncertain futures in a world that is changing faster than they can keep up with. Even love finds itself tangled in this struggle. Couples dream of futures together, but those dreams are threatened by class, by duty, by the sheer pull of different worlds. In the past, love at Downton has survived battles, scandals, and heartbreak. But in this final chapter, love must survive something even more powerful: time itself. Can love adapt to new realities, or will it too be a casualty of change? The Abbey becomes a symbol of this conflict. Its glowing chandeliers and grand dinners hide the truth that cracks are forming beneath the surface. Every echoing step through its corridors is a reminder of all that has been lost and all that still could be lost. The conflict is not simply about money or tradition. It is about identity. Who are the Crawleys without Downton Abbey? Who are the servants without the roles that define them? Who is anyone when the world they built their lives upon is slipping away? This is the storm at the heart of the finale. A battle between past and future, love and loss, tradition and progress. And as the curtain rises on this last chapter, truth becomes clear. Not everyone will leave the Abbey unchanged. The turning point does not arrive with loud drums or sudden storms. It comes quietly, like the slow dimming of light at sunset, impossible to ignore yet almost invisible at first. Within the Abbey, whispers grow louder. Decisions that once could be delayed now demand answers. The Crawleys and the staff alike are pushed to face truths that weigh heavier than any banquet table or ballroom chandelier. Lord Grantham feels it most in the stillness of the house. He walks through the drawing room and senses the emptiness left by years gone by. The laughter of guests that once filled these rooms is now memory. He clings to the hope that tradition alone can keep the Abbey alive. But tradition does not pay debts, and pride cannot silence the voices urging change. For the first time, he admits to himself that his hands may not be strong enough to hold back time. Mary, with her sharp resolve, becomes the voice of action. She refuses to watch the Abbey crumble under the weight of nostalgia. To her, sacrifice is painful but necessary. The future of Downton may mean opening its doors in ways her ancestors would never imagine, turning heritage into survival. It is a choice she knows will anger some, wound others, but she cannot escape it. The Abbey must transform, or it will die. Meanwhile, Carson and the staff feel the shift in their own way. The grand order of life downstairs is no longer unshakable. Opportunities outside the Abbey knock louder. A maid dreams of a business of her own. A footman thinks of travel beyond the county. Carson sees these dreams and feels the old order slipping through his fingers. He fears that when the staff disperses, Downton will lose more than workers. It will lose its soul. Yet even he cannot deny that holding them back would be cruel. This is the turning point. The house itself becomes a question rather than an answer. Every character is forced to stand before it and decide who they are when the Abbey is no longer eternal. For the family, it is the question of identity without privilege. For the staff, it is the question of life without service. For lovers, it is the question of whether affection can survive when duty no longer binds them together. The great irony is that in trying to save Downton, they may need to let go of what Downton once was. A new beginning may be born from what feels like an ending. The Abbey, once a fortress against change, must become the very stage upon which change takes its final bow. And as the turning point settles into place, the characters know nothing will ever be the same again. The Abbey does not end with silence. It ends with celebration, one last gathering where laughter and music fill the halls, as though time itself has been persuaded to wait just a little longer. The chandeliers sparkle, the dining table stretches proudly beneath silver and crystal, and the walls seem to glow with memory. It is not simply a party. It is a farewell disguised as joy. A final salute to a way of life that knows its curtain call has come. The Crawleys welcome their guests with practiced grace, but beneath their smiles lives a bittersweet truth. Lord Grantham raises his glass, the pride of centuries in his voice, yet in his heart he wonders if this toast is not to the future, but to the past. Lady Mary stands beside him, her resolve unshaken, her gaze steady. She knows this gathering is both a tribute and a turning point. Every laugh, every note of music, every dance beneath the Abbey's high ceilings is a memory being sealed. The staff, too, shine in this final moment. Carson polishes silver as though it were a crown, each piece reflecting his devotion. The maids carry trays with the grace of performers who know the audience is watching for the last time. Even those who dream of leaving pause to soak in this night, because no matter where they go, no matter what futures await them, they will never serve under a roof like this again. The Abbey has shaped them, and this night is their chance to honor it. Romance lingers in the air, tender and fragile. Couples dance with the weight of unspoken promises. Some share secret glances, knowing their futures may pull them apart. Others cling tighter, determined that love will survive whatever changes come. In the glow of candlelight, it feels as though time bends, as if the world outside cannot touch them for these few hours. But the Abbey, wise and ancient, knows better. It knows that this joy is fleeting, that dawn will bring reality. Symbolism laces every detail of the farewell. The final waltz sways not only across the ballroom but across history. The clink of glasses is more than celebration. It is a requiem for an age ending in beauty rather than in silence. Even the walls seem to lean closer, as though the Abbey itself wishes to remember the sound of voices it has sheltered for so long. And as the night draws to its close, there is a pause, a stillness before the final note. The laughter softens, the candles burn lower, and the truth settles over them all. This is goodbye, though few dare to say it aloud. Downton Abbey has given them everything: love, belonging, purpose, and memory. Now it asks only to be remembered with dignity. The grand farewell does not end in sorrow, but in gratitude. For in that ballroom, under those chandeliers, everyone knows they have been part of something larger than themselves, something that cannot be erased by time, even if the world beyond the Abbey changes forever. When the music fades and the last candle burns low, what remains is not silence, but memory. Downton Abbey stands in the twilight, its towers reaching into the fading sky like a hand trying to hold on to the past. Yet even as the night slips into dawn, the house whispers a truth it has always known. Time will take, but it also gives. What was once lived within these walls does not vanish. It transforms into story, into legacy, into something carried forward by those who once called this place their own. For the Crawleys, the Abbey has been more than shelter. It has been their identity, their burden, and their gift. To let go does not mean to forget. It means to honor what has been while accepting what will come. Lord Grantham, who once feared being the last guardian of tradition, finds solace in knowing that the Abbey will not die. It will change. Lady Mary, who carried the weight of tomorrow, sees that her courage has preserved something far greater than walls and titles. She has preserved the spirit of survival, the will to endure. For the staff, the Abbey will always be the place where their lives were shaped. The bell pulls, the clatter of dishes, the sweep of skirts down the servants' stairs. All of it becomes part of who they are, wherever they go. Carson may close the silver cabinet for the final time, but in his heart, the Abbey remains eternal. The younger servants may step into a wider world, but they will carry with them the discipline, the resilience, and the belonging that the Abbey gave them. And for us, the watchers, Downton Abbey leaves a mirror. It shows us that no age, no tradition, no way of life can last forever unchanged. But endings are not erasures. They are passages into memory, into stories told again and again. Just as the Abbey itself was once built from stone and soil, now it is built from remembrance. Every laugh, every tear, every love, every loss that unfolded here becomes part of a legacy that cannot be undone. The final image is not of loss, but of twilight. The Abbey stands bathed in the soft glow of evening, neither dark nor light, but something in between. Bittersweet, eternal. Its story is finished, yet it continues. For every viewer, every reader, every heart touched by these halls, the Abbey still breathes. It lives not in bricks, but in us. The curtain falls, not with despair, but with gratitude. Downton Abbey's farewell is not an ending, but a promise that beauty, dignity, and memory survive beyond time. And as the doors close one last time, we carry with us the truth that though the world may change, love and legacy never truly vanish. The Abbey stands in silence once more. The music has gone, the laughter has faded, and the great rooms are still. Yet silence here is not emptiness, it is remembrance. Every corner holds a story. Every wall has heard secrets and vows. Every step across its floors carries the echo of generations. And now, as the final chapter closes, the Abbey itself seems to breathe one last sigh, as if it too knows that its role has been played, its purpose fulfilled. The Crawleys walk forward into a future none of their ancestors could have imagined. They do so with heavy hearts, but also with hope. They have learned that to love something does not mean to chain it to the past, but to let it grow, even if growth demands sacrifice. Their legacy is no longer only in land or title. It is in the courage to endure change and to carry forward the spirit of the Abbey into new days. The staff, once bound to bells and duties, now carry the Abbey within them as they step into the wider world. They leave not as servants but as individuals shaped by loyalty, love, and resilience. Their lives will stretch far beyond these walls, yet Downton will remain the root from which they grew. And in every choice they make, every new path they walk, there will be a thread of the Abbey woven into their story. And for us, the watchers, the dreamers, the farewell is as much ours as theirs. We leave Downton Abbey with hearts full, knowing we have witnessed not only the rise and fall of a household, but the timeless truth that nothing beautiful is ever truly lost. The Abbey belongs to history now, yet its spirit endures in memory, in story, in every heart that carries its name. As the camera pulls away, the house stands bathed in soft light. The sky turns gold at the horizon, shadows stretching across its lawns. The windows glow faintly as though still alive with the laughter, love, and longing of those who walked its halls. Slowly the image fades, and the Abbey becomes not a place, but a memory we will return to, again and again, each time we remember what it gave us. And so, Downton Abbey ends not with loss, but with gratitude. A grand farewell, bittersweet and eternal. The doors close, the lights dim, and yet, in the quiet, it lives on.